Hey gang. Yeah, it's been a minute. As a weekly slab channel, I really think I scored some pointers here. Not only have I copied his video style, I've also copied his upload schedule, so, just had to keep it consistent by being inconsistent. I hope you're all doing well. I will be off script on this video, so fingers crossed that I don't ramble like I've done the past few times. I wanted to start this with a question. How have you been treating yourself lately? I hope that you could say that you've been treating yourself good, but I also understand if you haven't. I am also guilty of not treating myself the best I should be. I feel like it's human nature to more or less see ourselves in a negative light, to treat ourselves more poorly than we would other people. Although I'm not going to be bringing any research or facts or anything like that in this video today, I feel like it does go without saying that when we look in the mirror or when we think about ourselves, just about us, we just don't always see ourselves in the best light. Sometimes that makes it even harder to solve our own problems, to really enjoy life because we hate ourselves, or we don't really appreciate ourselves for who we are as we do other people. Although I'm not speaking for everyone for this, I am mostly speaking about my own experience, and I'm sure that some people can relate. And it got to a point in my life where I was tired of it. Not only was I tired of myself, I was tired of that inner voice in my head that was just treating me way worse than it should have. It was odd because I feel like I gave myself my own type of double standard where my expectations of other people were so below my expectations of myself. And it's not because I thought of myself as better than anyone else. It was kind of the opposite. I saw myself as less than other people, but for whatever reason, I still felt like I needed to do better, that I couldn't hold myself to a lower standard. And on one hand, there's actually a healthy balance to that thinking. We wouldn't want to put ourselves at the standards of someone else because, unlike them, we can control our own actions and we choose what we wish to do. We can't control the actions of others. So what they do, what they accomplish, that shouldn't be our standard. We should have one for ourselves. At the same time, that standard should be realistic. And beyond just our work ethic and building skills, this also applies to how we talk to ourselves. It may be something subconscious at first, but you may start to notice that when you speak to yourself, you're not the kindest, and you might actually be a total dick to yourself. I was noticing a lot in my behavior that I could make a very minimal mistake, and I would just be like, oh, you fucking idiot. Like, I would be very harsh, both in tone and in language, just in my head, not even realizing that that inner voice was slowly becoming very negative and hateful. And over time, that built up to a point where I was getting overwhelmed and where I just didn't love myself. I realized that I actually hated myself. There was a lot more to it, but I realized that that voice wasn't helping. And so I tried to figure out for quite a while, how could I treat myself better? Eventually, I came to a conclusion, and although I know it won't help everybody, hopefully if you haven't thought of this, it might help you. I believe that if you have these type of negative thoughts, or you speak negatively to yourself in your head, the best thing you could do is to stop treating yourself as you. Instead of just seeing the self part, you need to treat yourself as an individual, as somebody different. This is kind of just a little practice I do with myself, but every time I catch myself speaking negatively in the back of my head, I decide to detach myself from me, or to detach that inner voice as me, and I try to treat it like a friend and treat myself like a friend. I know this is probably really just confusing based off of the wording. I probably should have written a script, my bad. But I guess the gist of what I mean is, when I start getting overwhelmed in any situation, or if I make a mistake, instead of being just immediately, oh, you fucking idiot, or I can't believe you did that, or like, really, dude, you know better, I try to be nicer to myself, and I just try to immediately treat that voice, or I try to warp that voice in my head as if it's a character, or like I said, just a friend, somebody different that isn't me. And using that type of method has kind of helped me to talk better to myself, and overall, it's helped me to at least not hate myself. At least I can tolerate myself at this point. And it took a minute, but it was really helpful to just be like, take a step back and be like, hey buddy, just breathe. It's gonna be okay. You know, you made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. We're all imperfect, man. It's all right. Just keep going. You're okay. I really just had to start treating myself as if I were a different person, because I would never talk to another person the way I was talking to myself. If someone made such a small, insignificant mistake, I would not feel the need to walk up to them and say, "You're a fucking idiot." And that's kind of what clicked with me, is that if I treat myself, or if I look at myself as if I'm a different person, not only can I treat myself better, talk to myself more positively and in a better light, but I could also tackle a lot of my own problems that have been overwhelming, confusing in a better way. What I mean by that is it's so easy to solve the issues of other people. Say somebody's having relationship issues and they speak to you, like say like a friend, and they confide in you. It's typically really easy to pick out the red flags of either person or the issue that's really at hand. And usually you're able to tell them outright what they can do to solve that. But then when it comes to our own issues, it feels like we have to do the same thing, talk to other people, get perspectives, because on our own, things don't make sense. And our own issues feel so much harder to solve than other people's. But once you put yourself in a third person perspective and you start looking at yourself from a different point of view, as if you were a different person, you can kind of cultivate that same ability to solve your problems more effectively, the same as you do for others, or the same as you see other people's problems. I think I can leave it at that. Anything else, and I'd probably just be repeating myself. Now that that's all said and done, I do want to ask again to you, the audience, how do you treat yourself? And how do you want to treat yourself? You can feel free to leave a comment if you want to share your view or express your opinion on anything. I do read all of those. It's not really that hard. There's typically only 5 to 10. But even on the bigger videos, I am sure to read every single comment. So feel free to share your thoughts. I really like discussion and getting perspectives from other people. I do want to thank you for watching this, getting through. Not sure how it turned out, but the odds are, since it was, again, off script, it was probably pretty shite. But I've been putting off these videos for far too long. Script or not, there's still a lot of thoughts that I know I could share right at this moment, and I wanted to make sure I did so no matter what. So yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Do be sure to treat yourself right, and as always, stay hydrated.